tonight's headlines. The Lionel Messi controversy keeps simmering, with fans waiting to see if he will play in a friendly in Japan tomorrow. A Hong Kong airport worker falls off a tow truck and is fatally hit by a plane on the taxiway. And Britain's King Charles is undergoing treatment after being diagnosed with cancer.
Football legend Lionel Messi arrived in Tokyo dragging a suitcase after disappointing fans in Hong Kong by failing to kick a ball in a friendly match last Sunday. At a news conference in the Japanese capital, the Argentine World Cup winner said it was a shame that he could not join his Inter Miami teammates in the match against a Hong Kong side, as he had wanted to participate in that game. Messi blamed his no-show on an injury he picked up in Saudi Arabia. He said he feels much better now, but doesn't know whether he will be fit enough to play in a friendly match against Vissel Kobe in Tokyo tomorrow. Messi hoped that there would be another opportunity for him to display his skills in Hong Kong, where outraged fans are demanding their money back. Chief Executive John Lee urged the match organizer to address the demands of those who paid good money to see their idol, only to leave the Hong Kong stadium deeply upset. Michelle Lemonnier, chief executive of Tatler Asia, which organized the mega event, refused to answer questions on refunds, but withdrew a bid for a $60 million subsidy from the government.
They still have the responsibility to explain to members of the public, particularly those who have bought tickets, to get into the stadium to watch the match. Also, Custom and Excise departments, as well as the Consumer Council, have received numerous reports regarding the complaints, what the complainant experienced. All these complaints will be examined in detail.
Lee said the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau will continue to review the fiasco and take steps to protect Hong Kong's interest in future events. Maisie Mock, Cable News.
A worker has died after being hit by a plane on a taxiway just a month after starting his job at the airport. The fatal accident happened at around 3 a.m. when a 34-year-old fell off a tow truck. The driver didn't realize that his colleague was missing until he reached his destination. He launched a search and found the victim lying unconscious on the West Apron's taxiway. Police were alerted, and paramedics declared the worker dead at the scene. The 60-year-old driver was arrested for dangerous driving causing death. The case was classified as a fatal traffic accident. The airport authority said it's believed that the victim was not wearing a seatbelt when he fell off. It expressed its condolences to the man's family and pledged to assist them. The authority admitted that the work training programs and safety awareness can be improved. Janice Yu, Cable News.
The number of reported crime cases last year surged almost 30% from 2022 to over 90,000. Police Chief Raymond Siu said fraud cases jumped by 43% to 39,000. There was also a rise in indecent assault cases in public areas, including the MTR. A total of 1,162 cases were recorded, 209 more than in the previous year.
In 2022, I think everyone can recall that in the first few months, because of the COVID wave 5, there were lots of restrictions on movement at the time. But since 2023, because of the relaxation of the restrictions and everyone go out, and then there is an increase in the number of indecent assault.
Siu added that less than 30% of the 10,000 people arrested in connection with the social unrest in 2019 have been prosecuted or are facing legal proceedings. King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer less than 18 months after he ascended the British throne. Buckingham Palace said the 75-year-old monarch has begun a series of treatments. The type of cancer has not been disclosed, but it is not prostate cancer. Charles recently received treatment for an enlarged prostate. According to statistics, a cancer case is diagnosed every 2 minutes in Britain.
The king has waited to be sovereign for many, many years during the long reign of his mother, Elizabeth II. And, you know, throughout that time, he kept himself busy with a number of charitable businesses and other things as well. But now that he is king, we've witnessed an enormous amount of enthusiasm. He has hardly had a day without engaging in something else or something new. His delight at meeting people is part of his greatest strength. And the fact that he won't be able to do that for a time because he needs to deal with this diagnosis of cancer will have an impact on him.
Grief continues to dominate Gaza as more Palestinians are killed in Israeli attacks. At least 4 people, including 2 children, perished when an Israeli airstrike destroyed their home in the southern city of Rafah. What did this boy do that Israel had to kill him? Cried Ahmad Abu El-Yayin, who lost his 3.5-year-old son. They have taken a piece of my heart. At least 27,500 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed since Israel retaliated for a Hamas attack in October.
Sunday Funday turned into an ordeal for Brittany Gilliam and her 4 young family members on a hot summer day in the United States 4 years ago. The 29-year-old and her daughter, sister, and 2 nieces, aged 6 to 17, had planned to visit a nail salon in Aurora, Colorado. On arrival, they were ordered by police to get out of the car while being held at gunpoint and lay face down on the parking lot. A handcuffed Gilliam became emotional after seeing the girls restrained in a similar manner. The children were heard crying and calling for help.
I was livid. I was more scared than anything because all I could hear was their crying and their screams.
Videos of the body cams worn by the officers were later published. The episode sparked widespread outrage across the U.S. at a time when black people protested against racial injustice.
I never seen a Caucasian family, like, you know, pulled out, 4 kids pulled out on the floor, and then the parent pulled out on the floor.
Police explained that the officers initially thought Gilliam's car was stolen. It turned out her car's plate shared the same numbers as a stolen motorcycle registered in another state. One of the officers was suspended for 160 hours, although he and his colleague still work for the department. Prosecutors eventually concluded there was not enough evidence to charge the officers. Gilliam has since filed a lawsuit against Aurora police, and the 2 sides have now settled the case for $1.9 million. Ray Min-Yang, Cable News.
Hundreds of thousands more bank customers will soon have their deposits fully insured under a plan to boost the amount of protection. The Hong Kong Deposit Protection Board decided that the protection limit shall be raised by 60% to $800,000. After adjusting for inflation, it translates into a 20% improvement in real value. 92% of depositors will receive full protection for their money in the banks, above global standards. The decision came after the board conducted a consultation last year to enhance the scheme, which has been in place since 2006.
We think the level of 800,000 strike the balance between the cost and benefit. If you go beyond 800,000, that will be a very substantial increase in the amount of target fund that we will need to achieve in order to provide adequate protection. And that will increase increase the amount of costs that may eventually be passed to depositor.
The change could take effect as early as the fourth quarter this year, depending on the bill's passage in the legislature. Janice Yu, Cable News. China's pledge to maintain stability in the capital market boosted the Hang Seng Index by 4%. The benchmark climbed above 16,000 points to record its biggest gain in 6 months. Market sentiment soared after the mainland sovereign wealth fund increased investments in exchange-traded funds. The biggest winners were tech stocks, with the index for that sector jumping by more than 6%. Chip maker SMIC surged 8.6%, while Tencent rose 4%. Market favorite Alibaba jumped 7.6%. Food delivery platform Meituan added 6.5%.